Okay, the time is 9 o'clock. I'm going to call this Bee County Commissioners Court Notice of Special Called Meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, May 26th, 2020 at 9 a.m. We're in the Bee County Courthouse Commissioners Courtroom number 110, 105 West Corpus Christi St, Beeville, Texas 78102. At this time, I'd ask everyone to stand. Commissioner Pedis, if you lead us in a prayer, sir.
Thank you. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all the blessings you provide for us. We thank you for the protection that you provide during this pandemic. We ask you to watch over our first responders as they treat everyone. We ask you to please bless this agenda and all the decisions we have to make on it today. Open our minds and our hearts to make the best decisions possible for our constituents. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Pedis. Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I take the flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Commissioner Pedis. I don't know what happened.
Keep us back on track.
I kind of got jammed up and I never recovered.
It's the math.
It's the math. It's the math. I don't know what I was thinking. It inhibits the tongue. Agenda item number 4, recognize visitors. It's great to see real live people. Welcome everybody. There are some faces in the audience. I don't remember who started last time.
I think he did.
Okay.
He did. Commissioner Harvey.
You don't recognize him, huh?
It's the man. It's the man.
It's going to be one of those kinds of meetings. Commissioner Salazar,
Yes, sir.
the floor is yours.
I met with Ray Gonzalez on some issues for some stop signs in my precinct. Other than that, just normal routine calls I've been getting in the area, but luckily we've been able to resolve them. Nothing major.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I have several things here, Judge, but I'll keep it short. If y'all would, we're trying to get the BCA building for Road and Bridge. It's entered a new phase. Our state representative Lozano's office has contacted Congressman Vella's office, so we have the federals involved now because there were federal dollars in the purchase of that facility. It still looks encouraging. Right now, in government, no news is good news. I've spoken a couple of times to the Fed, and they're working on it. It's kind of interesting. TxDOT says no, it's the Fed. The Fed says no, it's TxDOT. So it's going to get down to who's going to make the final decision. So we're getting close.
Excellent.
The judge and I have been working on a road use agreement with the wind farm people up north. I think we're very, very close to finalizing it. The judge did some fantastic work on some wordsmithing to be sure things are like they should be. What's going on in Mineral is kind of interesting. Our road and bridge administrator got a contact from a solar farm. They want to put a major solar farm in Mineral, Texas, just north of here. Then they realized that, oh my goodness, we better not give you a copy of the map because you'll know where it is. So we don't know where it's going to be, what it's going to be, but they're talking solar farm in Mineral. Now, those of you that haven't really seen a solar farm, they're not as obtrusive as a wind farm. They're on the ground. They take up anywhere from 20 to 100 acres. Haven't got any more information, but there's something in the works. And we're also hearing there's a couple of wind farm folks looking at South B County. I'm sure Commissioner Haggard has more information on it than I do. Everything else is routine. Road and Bridge has been doing a fantastic job. We got a couple of calls about culverts that needed cleaning. Road and Bridge got it cleaned before this rain, and the rain's fantastic. So thank you. I'll pass.
Thank you, Commissioner Pedis. Commissioner DeWitt.
Close enough. We do look a lot alike.
This is going to be a rough day.
Yeah. These past couple of weeks, I've met with Laura Warnix. We're on the salary committee. She chairs the salary committee, so we're working on that. We've had 2 meetings, very productive meetings. So we're trying to get that honed down to get it right. And I met with Ray Gonzalez. He had a couple of MOUs, which you'll see on your agenda today, with BISD on resurfacing 2 of their parking lots. I had a BDA meeting, and we got Fema locked in for another year. They asked, instead of 6 months, they went for another year at least. So they're upping their time now. So that's a good thing. attended the jail meeting, with, Ernie Picard and the jail staff, sheriff and Ronnie, and, we got some of those things on. I was surprised to know there were that many items on their list to complete. But I talked to them this morning, and they've already done about half of those items. There was 1,800 on the list, so that's pretty good. And, I've called Scott a couple, 2-3 times, working on the doors, trying to get the doors right. And, met with Ms. Warnick also again on the elections coming up in November. Might have to use the expo for a drive-through because of the distancing, and also the Fulton building. And then I had one call on 4005 wanting a dead end, because she had a lot of traffic turning around by her house over and over again. There's no dead end sign. So other than that, Mr. Haggard?
Thank you. Had a small conversation with the outgoing let me breathe into it. Had an outgoing meeting with the superintendent of Skidmore ISD on the lights for the crossing. Should be somewhere August, September, around in there before the lights. TxDOT's still working on the other, they're still cleaning up from Harvey, so they're working on that. Had Nick Winfrey with Mortensen give me a call. They are finished with the AEP substation off of Baker Road. Contacted Mr. Gonzalez. They did have to widen a couple of turns, laid some road base down in the edges. Commissioner Ray and I discussed it, and they're not going to hurt us. There will be an expansion of that series next year, not the end of this year, but next year when the other wind farms come in. That'll be an expansion to add more substation to that. So they'll still need to keep that road. Still the agreement to fix it is still there. We'll be meeting this week. Mr. Gonzalez and I will be meeting with Rich Saunders out of Refugio County with it's actually the Brooks Hollow, but it's actually called Blackjack Creek Wind Farm. They have already met with the school district, already met with the superintendent and discussed it. It's about a $140 million project coming across there. We are working with Rich Saunders on a entrance to that farm, which would be down 631, which Ray and I have discussed numerous times about repairing it and getting it done. There'll be upgrades. They want to upgrade. We're right now discussing with one of the landowners where he's wanting the extension of the road. They wanted to fix the road up to his gate, and now we're deciding whether he wants to go a little further, which is a mile down the road to finish the road, or 2.5 miles up his. There's two different things. But we think it's just to finish the rest of Baker Road out to the end of the Carr Ranch and the Andrews Ranch. So like I said, he will be meeting with us this year. Again, he will probably be coming before the court for some things from us. So, other than that, regular business, the ditches are looking fairly well. I think spraying's fixing to start pretty quick again on some of our extra cut ditches. One of my constituents down there has actually cleaned out his fence row. Now it's one of those right there as you get into Silver Creek. Has put a new fence in, so that's going to look really nice if we can just get everybody on the other side to do the same. So, a lot of fence building going on in South Peak County. A lot of people cleared right of ways and putting in fences, making the county roads look really, really nice now, making them a lot easier for the road and bridge people. Shout out to the road and bridge for all the excellent work they're doing, catching up on the potholes, patching the roads, 628, a few others. So, other than that, that's it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Just real quick, and I apologize, I left out one important thing. We had an insurance committee meeting, and we're gonna bring it before the court here in probably our next meeting. There's gonna be a spike, unfortunately, on the rates, but we got other options, so just say go ahead.
Okay, that's not good news. Okay. Insurance companies. Okay, just a couple things. First, I participated in a celebration, a memorial event, and just want to commend Louis Polito and the other leaders of our veterans groups in B County for their continued efforts. And and in putting on that event. And I appreciated being invited to participate with. It was very special. COVID, we are still moving forward as the governor deems we are capable of doing so. Our county orders that our commissioners court had put into place, it seems like several months ago, remain in effect, but as far as restrictions on economics or the movement of people, that all is, we defer to the governor on that. I think the last time that we met, we had 6 cases in B County. Turns out that 6th case in B County was actually a Live Oak County case, so that was great. Unfortunately, they discovered that and corrected it at the same time that they announced we had new case 6 and new case 7 and new case 8. This past weekend, we received notice of new case 9. So B County is at 9. Of those, we are aware of 3 that have been released from quarantine. The other 3, or the other 2 of the first 5, have repeatedly tested positive. And so they remain on the active COVID-19 list. But overall, I want to commend the county. And by the county, I mean all of our citizens, all the individuals that are doing their part to maintain their social distancing, wearing masks if they feel more comfortable doing so. And hopefully someday soon, this will all be a distant memory. That's all I have. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? Okay, is there anybody who is moved to speak? Okay, moving on, agenda item number 7. The following items are of an administrative nature. Commissioners Court has been furnished documentation on each item, and all such items may be acted upon by one vote without being discussed separately, unless requested by a commissioner or county judge.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. April, anything?
If you want to look at your revenues, your financials, and on page 5, you can see that we're up 13%, 13.5% in our revenue collection over last year. I did tell y'all last month that I was going to give you a brief kind of update on where our revenues are in April because, of all of the COVID activity. So what I found is that our revenues were up from last year, $6,500, whereas the year previous it was up $12,000 from 18. So we're still up. So that's really all that matters.
Do we have any idea what that increase or
Why
year? Yeah, what the source of that is?
Well, I see it in our fines and forfeitures. That's
We got
really
that
it.
way station now that we didn't have back then. That could be part of it.
The sheriff is up about almost 3,000 in his collections from last year.
I don't know,
That's
before this
really-
started, the way station was working hard and heavy out there. So that might
Yes, maybe those tickets are coming through.
Yeah, probably fine.
With a little
I
delay.
have noticed every time we see the report, a lot of money comes in that hasn't come in through the JP. JP's been doing an excellent job of collecting fines and fees.
Yeah, their charges for services were not up as much, but the fines and forfeitures were up to 4,100, which makes up, which is part of the 6,500. So it's mostly in that fines and forfeitures portion. Because I just did a brief, just with our main offices, our sheriff, our clerks, and our JPs, just to kind of give you an idea, because those are our bigger departments.
That's great. Anything else?
If you have any other questions.
Percentage spent, percentage where we're at.
We're at 58% of the year, and our expenditures are at 52.5. So expenditures have been, there just hasn't been as much spending if it isn't for COVID necessities. That's what I've kind of seen right now. Well, all of the offices aren't really in full swing yet, so we'll see how that comes about.
Great, thank you, ma'am. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Deliberate and consider action on the following items. Agenda item number 8, project expenditure approval, PEA, for Smith, Seckman, Reed, Inc., April 2020 invoice for the Sheriff's Office, New Jail.
Move to approve as presented.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 9, PEA for Turner Construction Pay Application number 27 for the Sheriff's Office, New Jail.
Approved.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 10, PEA for Brinkley Sergeant, Wigington Architects, March 2020 invoice for the Sheriff's Office, New Jail.
Move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you. Agenda item number 11, appointment to the Workforce Solutions of the Coastal Bend Board of Directors. We were previously represented by Tracy Florence, our B County Chamber of Commerce Director. The Workforce Solutions is happy and satisfied with her participation. They spoke very highly of her. Her attendance was good, and they would be more than happy to have her continue on in that role for us.
Motion to,
I don't know. That's a really
Good
good
question.
question. I didn't ask.
yeah, motion to reassign, or reappoint, Tracy Thorne.
I will second with a comment.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioner DeWitt.
The comment is, looking through all the names, the superintendent of schools, Mr. Mark Puig, is also on that list.
Correct.
It's my understanding he may be leaving B County before too long. So I don't know whether he's our appointee or somebody else's, just a thought.
I will look at that too. Thank you, Commissioner
Yeah,
DeWitt.
looking at this, some of the attendance is, like I said, very good. Some of them are quite bad, but they're not from here. That's the main thing. So, my hat's off to everyone from B County who participated.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, Tracy, if you're watching at home. Agenda item number 12, memorandum of understanding between the City of Beeville and B County for Animal Control Services. Commissioners, the only reason I put this back on the agenda is when the city considered it, after we had approved it, they added in a minor provision specifying the ability to get out of the agreement if they so choose upon written notice. And I just felt more comfortable bringing it back before you. I don't anticipate any issue.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that, but I do have a couple of questions.
Certainly, I have a motion and a second. Commissioner DeWitt.
Looking at the agreement, that they talk about the city shall only respond to calls for small domesticated dogs. But in the next section, they say animal control calls shall constitute an animal bite, attack, or wild animal. If they're only gonna respond to domesticated, we need to take the word wild out. Just a thought. And then down toward the bottom, it says, when it's necessary to impound or quarantine, B County shall provide the location. But then they talk about the city shall impound for rest or medical and transportation of the vet. Judge, let me just leave these with you and not to belabor the point, see what you think about this. But I think we need to take the word wild out if we're gonna talk about only domesticated up here.
And I don't disagree with you at all. Would it be acceptable, Commissioner Salazar, to amend your motion to allow me discretion to?
Yes, sir. I'll amend that.
And I'll amend my second also.
Okay, great. So then I'll get it ironed out and we'll get this signed up. And I really appreciate all the work that y'all did to put this together. And again, our appreciation extends also to the City of Beeville for working with us. So.
And since the sheriff's office is involved, Sheriff, if you looked at this, it's okay?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Okay, because I know that originally.
You didn't want any more people in the room, I could tell.
Originally, when we crafted it, we had the sheriff and the chief of police making the final decision. The chief of police is out out of that loop now, it's totally on the sheriff, and that's okay on your, so everything looks good on your end.
We could send them to precinct 4.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, Sheriff. All right, if there's no further discussion, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 13, acceptance resolution of coronavirus aid, relief, and economic security CARES Act grant and election security grants. This is just to get us started. Ms. Warnick, if you want to come up and.
Good morning, Commissioners, Judge. We have 3 grants that have been offered to our office. The first one is the 2020 CARES Act grant. The amount of that grant is $24,647.36. It requires a 20% match, which is can be paid with our Chapter 19 funds. They have the amount of the grant based on what we could pay out of our Chapter 19. And our required match is $4,929.47. That grant will allow us for additional costs for printing and mailing ballots. Some other items is voting processes, staffing for additional staff that we're going to have in November due to the COVID, security and training, being allowed to train those poll workers on how to clean, what to look for, how to handle the voters and stuff with the pandemic response. Communications, that's going to allow us to notify the voters that we are going to be taking processes. These are the things that will, where you'll be going and so forth. This is part of what Commissioner Frias and I were talking about. With the governor extending the Democrat runoff by a week, we are expecting them to, early voting for that an extra week. We are expecting him to do the same for the for the November general election, at least by a week, if not 2, just to spread out the voters, which means extra staffing, extra hours, extra costs, and so forth. So these grants are to help us offset those expenses and so forth. And then, of course, supplies. Those are the 5 categories, that we'll be able to spend that grant. The second grant came from the cybersecurity, the one we did a couple of years ago, where we had our office checked, our network checked, and so forth, that we've been waiting on. When they finished, after they mandated, we did ours on voluntary basis, but then if you'll remember, they made it mandatory for every county to go through that. Once they finished paying for those grants, the money that was left from the federal government, they took and they divided those out amongst the 254 counties, and every county got the exact same thing, so it wasn't based on that. So it was kind of nice. We got $40,000 on that grant, and there is no matching funds for that. It's just an automatic $40,000 that's going to come to us. There are stipulations. It has to be for voting equipment upgrade or replacement, but they have to be paper verifiable, which is going to allow us to pick up that extra scanner that we're going to need for the increased ballots that we're predicting in November. There's a category for election auditing in there, voter registration systems, the extra security to our voter registrations. We're working on trying to put the elections office on a separate wall or server. I call it server, Craig calls it something else, but he knows what I'm talking about. The cybersecurity, anything that we needed in our survey that said that we needed to have done, like the cameras in my equipment room, the alarms in my office, those kinds of things. And then again, communications to the public of what we're doing to do that. The third grant is a 2020 election security grant. It's an $80,000 grant that requires a 20% match. The 20% match is $16,000. That would be $16,000 that the county would need to match in order to supply these. And Judge had already gotten information on those to sign off on them, and we have some forms we have to fill out and so forth on those. So, any other questions?
When would that 16,000 be due? Which fiscal year?
That I do not know. So I'm sure they're going to send that to the judge. My understanding, the CARES Act is the very first one they're doing. We're not sure when the other 2 will come.
Okay, and I know I see a 2021 date here that Grace put here for me, so I'm thinking maybe next year.
The beginning of the CARES Act grant started March the 28th of this year and goes through November. That's the one we have to spend first, because it's a very quick, they're wanting to turn around on that one, that's for the COVID. The other two, the first one, began March 23rd, 2018. Anything we spent from that date forward up to December 31st of 2021 can be covered under that one. And then the last grant, the $80,000 grant, started December 21st, 2019, and goes through that December 31st, 2021 date.
The budget for next year.
Okay, so I anticipate that being due probably in 2020.
I'm not even
Possibly
aware,
2022, if it's
I'm not even
December.
aware how that works with April, so maybe.
Okay,
we
we'll
can
look into
explain
it.
I mean, I don't know if y'all have to send that money to them, and then they turn around and send it back. I don't know how those work on those matching funds.
Okay, we'll do,
I'll make a
additional
motion to
research.
approve. We're about the 16,000 that comes due.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Correct me if I'm wrong, April, this is merely the first stage in the application process.
Yes.
So, approving this, if it turns out that the 16,000 or a greater amount, turns out to be due earlier, puts us in a difficult position, we can always back out of it if need be.
I don't anticipate, I just, make sure we.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ms. Warnock, for putting that together and making that presentation. If there's no other, discussion, I'd entertain, or no, I'm sorry, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 14, resolution authorizing submission of the 2020 CARES Act Coronavirus Relief Fund CRF application to the Texas Division of Emergency Management. So this is a required component of, I want to say, an $11 billion distribution to the state of Texas for coronavirus relief from the federal government. Of that 11.2 billion, I think about 5 or 6 billion went directly to the largest municipalities and counties in the state of Texas directly. The remainder, like another, I don't know how much, these are huge numbers, right? So the remainder went to the governor, and the governor is distributing at a per capita rate of $55 per head for counties and municipalities, of which we fall into, the ability to obtain that funding to offset the additional costs of COVID-19. So for B County, our number is anywhere, April, you may have the actual number, I don't know. If you don't, it's okay. It's like $200,000 to $300,000.
Yeah.
You do, Grace?
I just remember the 20% is like $217.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason that number makes sense is that although B County could be, and that it includes the city, so B County and the city of Beeville could share in, I think it's $1.76 million overall. Of that 1.76 million, 20% is going to be distributed immediately to us for use, and we have to prove what we use it for, and so forth. And then the remainder of the $1.76 million is something that we can seek reimbursement for. So I filed the simple attestation and application form, I believe it was last week, and this is one of the components that we need to do now if we so desire to continue on with that.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just one quick, the prisons are included in our census population?
I don't believe so. I don't know.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, I don't believe so. I think our number's around 32,000, and I don't think that.
32.5, I thought it was.
And I don't believe so.
Is this the one we're discussing on?
It's, it's, 400 and, the number is 448,000 for, the county together with the city, and so then that's what's that's where I think we got the 220.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about the prison. When we do the population.
The money.
Yeah.
The population off of the
To buy a-
workforce.
And I don't
That's one of the
remember
big
if
trade.
it was-
You know, and there's gonna be a vaccine coming, so we could hit all the rural areas like, you know, Publix, give more time in Pedis, Mineral.
You might wanna check into that.
Mhm. That's a good
What
point,
if
Commissioner.
They say, yeah, they should be included.
That's a good point.
So hopefully we'll receive those funds and put them to good use. I can say that, from a fiscal standpoint, hopefully April doesn't hit me on the head, when I say this, but, I would commend our county, employees, elected officials. We have minimized the cost and expense to a great extent that COVID-19 and this new, normal that we find ourselves in minimized the expense to the county, and the impact thereby. So, once again, I think everybody's doing a very good job of navigating through these times, and hopefully these funds will help offset the pain that COVID-19 has caused fiscally. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 15, amended documentation and interlocal agreement between B County and Pedis Municipal Utility District, Fema, for the Texas General Land Office, GLO, Texas Community Development Block Grant, TX, Cdbg, Disaster Recovery, DR, Hurricane Harvey Fund Grant number 20-065-016-C056 PMUD Emergency Generator Project.
I'll make a motion to approve with a comment.
I was second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioner DeWitt.
These are the generators for the Pedis Sewer and Water Plant, and I have to commend, Mr. Carvajal from Community Affairs for working closely with the engineers. I think they just about got it all worked out now, so, it's going well.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Carvajal. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 16, Texas GLO Cdbg mitigation, TX Cdbg-MIT grant funding for possible application submittal.
Move to approve.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion? April?
I know that, this is what y'all discussed with Natalie, last week. These are just possibilities of what could be available for B County. So, I believe we're just gonna be looking, further into what we, qualify for.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay,
just wanted to give that little update to the commissioners that, that you were in on it, you and Candy and Grace with, Grant Works, just to kind of give us a heads up of the monies that are out there.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. This is a potentially large, grant. This is a grant where, correct me if I'm wrong, our minimum application project, it's a single project, application, and our single project must be a minimum of $3 million, is that right? 3 million. Max of 100 million? I think so. So, let's put our thinking caps on and, come up with, something we can do with these funds. And again, this would just be, to get the process started, and we can bow out at some point in time in the future.
Yep.
If it turns out that it's not something fiscally responsible for us to engage in. Wow. 1% match. Not too shabby.
That's nice.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 17, proclamation proclaiming the month of May as Children's Mental Health Awareness Month.
So,
I have a motion to
Second.
approve and a second. Any further discussion? I will say that unfortunately, we don't have any guests today in person, but they are watching live. Is that correct, Candy? Wonderful. So, with no further discussion, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 18, interlocal agreement between Beeville Independent School District and B County to resurface the east side parking lot at RA Hall School.
as something that Ray This is the parking, the MOU that, we're working on. You wanna help?
Yes, sir. Thank
You wanna tell the court a little bit about?
Yes.
Ray Gonzalez, road administrator. I was approached by VISD, Erasmo Rodriguez, for an interlocal agreement on these parking lots. We did one 2 weeks ago in Pedis, and I'm sure we could probably schedule this in our schedule.
And this is something we've done in the past.
Yes,
Now,
yes,
on the-
yes.
on the school
Yes.
district.
Yeah, there's some
Yes.
Yeah.
sketches and everything in the parking lot.
It's just finding time in my schedule to do it, but I feel confident we can do it.
Appreciate that.
Is this your project?
Two of them are my, one of them is, two of the parking lots are in my precinct, and one is in, Commissioner Hager's
Yeah.
precinct. So I'll make a motion that we accept this MOU or
No,
move
I'll
forward with
second
it.
that.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Agenda item number 20, acceptance of the Pedis Independent School District ISD resolution designating the B County Tax Assessor Collector to levy and collect taxes as per the 2009 agreed judgment.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Did we do 18 and 19?
No,
we skipped one.
We missed the,
We skipped 19.
Number 19, sir.
Oh, my goodness, my apologies.
I think that was.
It looks the same.
It does. It's all the same, it's just, one of them is in mine and one is in two different.
I'll come back to it. We can finish this agenda item number 20 real quick. Okay. All those in favor, please indicate by, oh, wait. Did we vote?
No.
Yeah.
mean,
I got a
did-
motion.
We have a
Got a
motion and a
motion.
second. Acceptance of the Pedis ISD, resolution designating B County Tax Assessor Collector to levy and collect taxes as per the 2009 agreed judgment.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Oh, Ms. Bridge? Nothing?
No, sir.
You okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. My apologies, gentlemen. We return to agenda item number 19, interlocal agreement between VISD and B County for the repaving of RA Hall and FNC School parking lots.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? This is what we talked about on agenda item 18 as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
All
just
those,
two separate schools, so it had to be two separate.
yes, sir. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 21, acceptance of the Pawnee ISD resolution designating the B County Tax Assessor Collector to levy and collect taxes as per the 2009 agreed judgment. Move to approve. I have a motion and a second. Got those up? Excellent. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 22, acceptance of the Skidmore-Tynan ISD resolution designating the B County Tax Assessor Collector to levy and collect taxes as per the 2009 agreed judgment.
Move to approve is presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 23, addition to section of payment procedures of the Auditor's Office procurement procedures.
I just added some language as far as deadlines in my office for invoices, so that's what you'll see highlighted on the attached.
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second.
What are the penalties for that?
I don't know if we
You
want to.
get the look.
You know, the.
No, it
You
just
don't
helps,
want
it just
that.
helps, it just helps with.
There's a speedy pay act by the state government that's 30 days unless there's some kind of extenuating circumstances, and I know they're pretty interesting start to be charged, so.
Yes, and no, we want to avoid late penalties at all costs, and so this just helps us have a little something to send back to those departments that are sometimes not timely.
Well, the IT steel gaze that you just gave when
Yeah.
Commissioner Frias asked what the,
I told you.
yeah, I mean, it.
I'm gonna put my mask.
Nobody can hear it.
Back off.
Hey, Gary, we don't ever violate. Thank you. Stay alive.
On the fire.
Do I have a motion yet? I mean,
Yes.
You have a motion.
I have a motion and a second. Okay. There's no further discussion. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 24, Beeville tire credit application for the Road and Bridge Department.
Move to approve. I think all we've done, the company changed
Second.
name.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Agenda item number 25, amended fiscal year 2020 Interlocal Cooperation Act contract between the University of Texas Medical Branch, UTMB, and B County for indigent healthcare services.
Move to approve. This is pretty much housekeeping, Judge.
Second.
Have a motion in multiple seconds. Okey doke. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 26, approval of the Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool, TXC-RMP, 2020 property insurance renewal.
Move to approve with the comment.
Have a motion?
I'll second.
Have a second?
Comment, I think the amount due is $151,499, which is considerably less than what we paid years ago before we got in with the Texas Association of Counties.
Yes, definitely considerably less.
A lot
That is up over last year
Yes.
because we have added, the new, our new law enforcement facility, so it is up 45,000. So, and we had already let the court know last year, and it's already budgeted, and, so we knew that increase was coming.
Yeah, it's probably, in my memory's faded a little bit, but it's probably half of what we used to pay.
And we used to pay
And
300,000.
the deductibles are a lot less, Judge. This is a really good deal we got with Texas Association of
The,
Counties
um,
for insurance.
Yeah, and then also the help on the other side is great.
Yes.
They give us great
You
resources.
pick up the phone and you get answers immediately. Well worth the money.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 27, resolution authorizing submission of grant application for fiscal year 2021 Local Border Security Program Grant number 2996006 to the Office of the Governor.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 28, request to use county credit card to purchase handheld radio batteries for the sheriff's office.
Move to approve is presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. Thank you, gentlemen. Agenda item number 29, request to use county credit card to purchase personal protection equipment, PPE items for the elections office upcoming election.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes without exception. This puts us at agenda item number 13, which is bittersweet. 30, what did I say, 13? It's the math.
It's the math,
It
sir.
is the math.
It just came out wrong.
Take your memory away from that.
Everybody-
Numbers are in there, but that's,
No, geez.
woke them all up, didn't you?
Everybody's watching.
I'm having difficulty pulling up the internet thing. Well, no, I've got that. I was gonna look for, the agenda item itself. But agenda item number 30 is accept the resignation of B County Tax Assessor Collector. Ms. Bridge, do you have anything you'd like to present to us this morning?
Certainly. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Liz Bridge. I'm the tax assessor collector for one more month for B County. I have, put in my resignation, as you see, and, that would be effective with you accepted on June 30th. I'd like to say to the court that I have had an absolutely wonderful time, serving as tax assessor collector, being a public servant, and serving the community here. I have enjoyed the support of the court over all the decisions that we've made in my office. And we have, moved the technology and the processes forward. And we have achieved many goals. One of the biggest ones that we achieved recently was our goal, level for motor vehicles. The Department of Texas Motor Vehicles for the processing of our, titles and registration. And that's not due to me, that's due to a very hardworking staff, that accomplished this. I am humbled by the support that I have received over the past 12 years as a tax assessor collector, and
I will miss part of it. I truly miss the conversations that I have, but I will not miss the stress and the hard work that comes with it. This is not a job that you can not come to work every day. It is an everyday kind of job that has to be there. And I have utmost confidence that whoever is placed in this position will be able to do the job. So I thank the Commissioners Court for your guidance and support over the past few years. And I look forward to seeing you in the civilian life.
Thank you, Bridge. Did we have a letter?
I know it wasn't attached.
Yeah, I didn't see one either.
Yeah, we didn't attach.
Ms. Bridge is just as a citizen of B County, and probably as a citizen in any county in the state of Texas, I can say that having to go into the tax office is not anybody's favorite time, because it usually results in a lightening of the wallet. But I appreciate everything you've done, again, from my personal profession as a lawyer, being able to access your records online, the care and professionalism, the speed of service that we receive as an individual inside the tax office has been wonderful, at least over the course of the last 10 years that I've been here. So I commend you for that. Thank you. I'm sorry to see you go, and I wish you the best.
I appreciate that.
Real quick, Judge, I've been here in the court since you became the tax assessor collector, and I also want to congratulate you on your retirement, but also thank you for the service you provided to us, okay? I know you've always, been available. Every time I've gone there, you've helped me out, and I really appreciate that, and you're gonna be missed. Thank you.
You know, I want to echo what y'all have said, and I couldn't have said it better. Ms. Bridge, you've done a fantastic job. You can leave with your head held high. We're going to miss you. I have never seen a person come out of that office upset because their wallet was lightened. Everybody understands. You've done a fantastic job introducing the scoutball program and all the extra work you went through. And my hat is off to you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Bridge, thank you for all the help you've given me when I've gone to ask all the questions and try to learn everything we can about it. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Again, Ms. Bridge, you and I go way back, we did get the hot funds, that was your work, along with Commissioner DeWitt. The Scotch Law was another one. I will admit, people do go in there a little bit anxious because they are gonna be lightening their wallet, but between you and your staff,
Sorry.
President and past, have all handled them, and they all leave exactly as Commissioner DeWitt said. All very happy, very satisfied. That just stems from the leadership that they're given, from the people that work for you. And so thank you very much for everything that you've done for B County.
Thank you.
And don't be a stranger.
Not at all, sir.
At this point in time, I'd accept a motion to accept the resignation of Linda Bridge as the B County Tax Assessor Collector, effective June 30th of 2020.
I will make that motion.
And I will second it with remorse.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes regretfully without exception. At this time, public notice is given that the B County Commissioners Court may elect to go into executive session anytime during the meeting to discuss matters listed on the agenda pursuant to the authority granted under the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Immediately before any executive session, the specific section or sections of the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, that provide statutory authority will be announced. Upon completion of the executive session, the Commissioners Court may, in an open session, take such action as appropriate on items discussed in an executive session. We do have an executive session agenda item tonight, this morning, sorry. It's already been a long day. Executive session, agenda item number 31. Executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.04, personnel, appointment of B County Tax Assessor Collector. So thank you. At this time, we're going to go into closing session.
Is there anything that, I think she has some literature she'd like to read for in executive session?
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
We can take a 5-minute break.
Yeah, let's do that.
You get the case on you?
It's ready, all you gotta do is unfold.